Hey JT, this is Kevin Higgins at Top Tech. I'm going to go through the steps required in order to take out the CPU board on your multi-load. So you should have just received this CPU board. The normal tech that we have that kind of walks you through doing this is on a deployment this week, so I'm going to be available for a phone call, and just for reference, this is the steps that we need to do. So step one is there are 4 screws at each corner of the multi-load. We're going to loosen those so that we can open the actual enclosure kit up, which I've already loosened them, so you're probably going to have to go 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a thumbnail screw. You can use a large flathead and it should work pretty easily. Step 2, we need to remove the power supply cable. It's the one on the bottom right hand corner. Just grab it from both hands and pull out. Right, so there's 2 boards here. The top board is what we're going to be replacing. This is your CPU board. This is the system board. The system board attaches to the CPU board on this input port right up in here. So I have to remove the system board in order to take the I/O board out. So I'm going to remove the Ethernet cable, which you should have. Before you start this, take a picture of what cables are plugged in where. I'm pretty sure all you're going to have is this one patch cable and the Ethernet cable plugged into your, as well as the power supply cable plugged into your system board. I'm going to remove, this is my 485 cable. So I've got Ethernet, power, my 485, and now there should be only power going to my display connected. We'll go ahead and leave that one connected. There's 4 screws that keep the system board in place. I've already loosened these, so I'm able to just take them out. If you have a 1/2 inch screw, a ratchet, that you should be able to just put it on top of this and pull it out. But mine are already loose enough that I can just use my fingers to take it out. So 1, 2, should get pretty loose at this point, 3, and then 4. I'm supporting it by holding it into the clip, into the processor. It's going to want to, at this point, just kind of fall out, right? So we're going to leave this power that goes to the display port and just kind of set it at the bottom of your multi-load. So at this point we have 4 screws and our system board. The CPU board is connected to a ribbon cable which supplies data to your display, and then a power cable which goes to your weights and measures screw. We need to remove the ribbon cable and the power supply cable that goes to your weights and measures. So there's a clip on the inside of the power supply to the weights and measures. Where my thumb is, I'm going to hold down that clip and pull down. It's a little tricky. Should look just like that. The ribbon cable is the most tricky of all of them. There is a small brown bar at the top. We want to pull the bar down, just like that, and the ribbon cable should just slide right out. When we replace it, this colored side, it's either going to be blue or black, is going to be facing towards the CPU board. So at this point, we have 4 more screws, and there's these spacers here that support them. This piece of metal here is just one mount that has the CPU board and the system board on it at the same time. I'm gonna go remove this. One bolt. Alright, 2 bolts.
They're small and can get away from you.
Yep. Three bolts. And all right, at this point, the CPU board's going to want to just kind of collapse off of those screws. The 4 spacers that hold the CPU board to the back plate, to the mount, may be loose and they may want to fall off. So You want to be a little bit delicate when you get this last screw off. So mine are probably, because this multi-lid is pretty old, gonna stay there. But this white piece of plastic, you want to make sure that you don't lose those. So you should be done at this point. You're gonna get your new CPU board, which has a new battery. We want to look at the old battery, the old one, to see why that battery burned out so quickly. And you're just gonna do the exact reverse. We're gonna put the new CPU board back on. Oops. Oh, actually, I forgot one thing. The SD card is in the CPU board. So when you get the new CPU board, it's not going to have an SD card. We need to get the SD card out of the old system in order to put it into the new system. So we're going to put that in like that, and it should just click. Actually, I just dropped it. Great. Skip that one for now. I don't know where that just dropped.
That's okay.
All right, let's assume that I just did the last one in the corner there. It'll hold. Your ribbon cable, this again, in order to be unlocked, it needs to be moved down to the downward position. You're just gonna slide it in. Oops. Come on, just like that. This is the hardest one. Keeps on going up, go down. There it goes. Oh, I can't see. Ah, that's not in. There it is. Good. Snug as a bug. All right, and then we're gonna take our actually, before we do that, plug your weights and measures power back in. Slide your system board back into your new CPU board. I'm gonna put in all 4 of my screws. Okay, I'm gonna patch my RJ45 port. I'm gonna patch my Ethernet cable. And then I'm gonna patch my power supply. And at this point, it should boot up, and we're going to use the steps that I emailed you regarding loading the configuration file from the SD card back on to restore it back. So call me when you're ready. Bye bye.